Dennis Smeltzer. I am the former president of TSANet. I'm getting ready to turn this over. Oh, there we got some people still coming in. Getting ready to turn this over to the current president of TSANet as I'm kind of bowing out. I wanted to get on this webinar, make just a couple of things, you aware of a couple of things. One, this would be 30 years for TSANet for me this month. So, and the reason it's been around for so long is I think has a lot to do with the fact that it's a very member-driven organization. So what Paul is going to walk you through, and you can see the members, the elite members that are part of this organization. Paul's going to walk you through what TSANet is and a lot what TSANet is not. There's obviously a lot of turnover that happens within the department, so we really appreciate you joining so you can see what this is, how you can use it, how it will help better support your customers, and take advantage of your membership. That's really a key to this whole thing. So Paul, I know you got just a few slides. Why don't you go ahead and walk them through the basics of TSANet, and I'll chime in here at the end.
Great. Thanks a lot, Dennis. Yeah, so for those not familiar with what TSANet is, as Dennis said, right, it's been around for 30 years, so quite a bit of history here. But it was set up as a not-for-profit global alliance. Obviously started out of just a handful of members, but it's grown over the years to now we have over 850 companies that participate in TSANet. And you can see, some of the logos below of our elite members. And the overall goal is to improve the shared customer support experiences, right? So allowing members to collaborate with each other on the benefit of the customer. As far as what TSANet provides, the first two we'll kind of maybe call those the core of TSANet, right? And this is really the mechanism for collaboration. So there's a legal framework that allows for collaboration, and there's an actual system, which I will demo, that's ISO certified, and that's actually supports the operational process around collaborating between members. And then 3 and 4 are really kind of some things that I would say have really come on here over the years. Number 3, we'll spend a bit of time on that because I see this as an area where members are really getting more value out of TSANet, and that is through combination of these technical knowledge exchange sessions, which are really targeted at your support engineers. And then we also have support best practices through the regional focus groups that are more targeted at managers, directors, et cetera. So we see those as kind of opportunities to get involved in the membership, get the networking component maybe outside of an actual collaborative case. And then number 4, I'll spend a bit more time just kind of fleshing that out a bit more. But we have seen certainly over probably the past 10 years or so, a lot more structure in how members partner, right? So technology partner programs, OEM solution support models, those things are definitely kind of driving the way members work with other members. So we are supporting those new partnership models as well. And this gives you a sense of the technology partner framework. Obviously, some of these things are, I would call it out of the box, right? So the common customer piece that you just automatically get when you join TSANet, right? The other members that you can collaborate with, that's kind of the default process where you're able to engage another member. The assumption is they're a common customer. They have support entitlements with both of the vendors, and the core TSANet framework and operational process supports that collaboration. So that's the common customer collaboration. But what we're seeing more is these alliance partnerships. We had a webinar probably about a month ago where VMware, Nutanix, and Red Hat kind of talked about their partner programs and how they host those on TSANet and the benefits of those. So in that, again, maybe some of the mechanics are very similar, but it tends to be more structured around a partner program that's hosted by the member. And then off to the right, some people call it OEM, some people call it solution support, some people call it strategic partners, but these tend to be relationships between companies where, maybe the support process is very specifically designed. It could be one member takes the customer support, and then they backline product support with other vendors, right? So all of these models can be supported on the TSANet platform. As far as the benefits, then I think pretty straightforward. Obviously, it's all about the customer, so solving problems faster, improving customer experience. But then on the operational side and kind of efficiencies, cost savings, it is certainly the most efficient way to manage partnerships at scale, or just partner relationships in general, right? You're benefiting from kind of proven legal process, operational process, and kind of the scale nature of the TSANet Connect platform as well. So just a quick overview of the membership levels, and these are kind of, I would say, fairly new. We launched these towards the end of last year. How you look at these, standard is kind of the starter. I'm going to talk about kind of the core functionality that all members get, and I won't drill into a lot of detail on what additional features did Premium get, what additional features do Elite get. We'll send out the slides so that you can kind of understand that. But for the most part, the standard membership gets you the collaboration with the other members. It gets you the knowledge exchange. It gets you access into the regional focus groups. So it really kind of gives you all the core features, and then the Premium steps up to some additional functionality around more enterprise-based collaboration, single sign-on, things like that. And then the Elite membership is really everything you need to really leverage the multi-vendor support as maybe a core part of your business. So these are members that have technology partner programs, solution support models, all of those types of things. But I won't go into the detail of some of those, because I do want to make sure we cover kind of the core things that all these member types get. And the first is the technical knowledge exchange. So as I said before, this is kind of something outside of the transaction nature of collaborative support. So this is something that we've rolled out last year, and you'll see a few more of those coming this year. And we're hoping to kind of get some consistency in how you see these. They tend to be members that have core products that are kind of used throughout the industry. So, for example, VMware has given a few knowledge exchange sessions. Red Hat, we have one coming up here in September for IBM. They are 1 hour long. They're very, very technical sessions. So, for example, Red Hat gave one on how to debug core dumps on system crashes. So there are kind of topics along those lines, things that allow your engineers to kind of troubleshoot multi-vendor scenarios. And when we get into into TSANet Connect, I'll show you how you can find those, right? So they're pretty easy for the engineers to see, and then we do broadcast that out to the business managers as well. In fact, you'll be getting that for the IBM one here shortly, and you can share that with your engineers and get them to register for those types of sessions. And of course, they're all recorded and available for everyone to look at. So again, we'll kind of show you what that looks like. So we see this as definitely a nice benefit for your support engineers. And then as far as the managers go, again, this I would say it's been a huge value, and we've seen this kind of continue to grow and become more important, even through the kind of the COVID years where people couldn't meet. We kept these things going online. Now they're all meeting back face to face. So we see this as definitely a benefit. If you're not participating in one of these regional focus groups, definitely reach out to me and we'll get you kind of plugged in. We've got one here in North America. They tend to meet face to face twice a year. We just did one in RTP, and we've got one coming up here in the Bay Area in September. So that's North America. Europe, they similar. They tend to meet 2 or 3 times a year. Tends to be some location in Germany or Amsterdam's kind of a good centralized place. And in fact, they've got one coming up in November. And then India, generally speaking, that meets in Bangalore. And again, they've gone back to face-to-face twice a year, and we'll have one in the fall. Japan, we have not yet had a face-to-face, but we're hoping to get that first one here at the end of the year. That actually, we started that focus group right when COVID hit, so our face-to-face meeting turned into online. But the nice thing is that that focus group has stayed together all through that. And then similar with Australia, right? They meet face-to-face in Sydney. But for Australia, we do also include other English-speaking places in Asia. So, for example, Singapore, Philippines, Malaysia joins in there as well. So that one tends to be both face-to-face and remote access as well. So those are the regional focus groups. They cover obviously things about TSANet, great way for you to network with other members. But in general, each focus group is able to kind of define what's important to them and what they want to talk about. So it could be, for example, Europe maybe has a discussion like what's a good nearshore location to have support centers, right? Or maybe they want to discuss AI on the escalation side, or whatever topic is important to them. It might not be directly related to multi-vendor support. So we allow them to kind of have a bit of flexibility there. But again, if you're not involved in the focus groups, I would definitely reach out to me. So then the third piece, in this part I will demo as well, is obviously TSANet Connect. One of the things that our new membership model allows for is now all memberships are global. So if you're, joining, and maybe historically you're a, say, a Premium Americas member, now you're a global, right? So where you were before maybe restricted to only having users in the Americas, now every single membership can have global access to TSANet Connect. There's no limitations on number of users. So really kind of encourage you to take a review of what users you've got registered in the systems, and kind of assume that this is something that you can scale out to your other centers around the world, if that makes sense. But the TSANet Connect system in general is extremely lightweight and easy to use. We do have training for engineers. We got a recording piece, but to give you a sense, you can usually train people in about 15 minutes. I tend to call it a just-in-time LinkedIn system. You can see here kind of what the workflow is, and I'll give you a quick little demo. But essentially, you've got a sender that's going to log into the system. They're going to search for the company that they want to collaborate with. They're going to fill out the form, and they're going to press submit. And really, that is the only interaction they need to have with the system, right? Then they're hopping back into their case tracking system, whether that's Salesforce or what have you. And then what happens on the receiver side is they receive that inbound request. Again, they might integrate that into their CRM systems. They have the capability of doing that. And then there's an initial response that comes back that gives you then the case number of that receiver and the engineer that's going to be working on that issue. So that then comes back in an email back to the sender. So now both sides have the engineer contact details, each other's case number, and you're then at that point working in your own CRM systems, whether you're sending emails, jumping on a Microsoft Teams call, Zoom call, what have you, picking up the phone, whatever is more appropriate to solve the issue. So we don't get in the middle of the resolution piece, but the part that we do ensure, and I would say this has been maybe one of the big benefits of TSANet Connect, is we ensure that the receiver does respond to the sender within the agreed SLA. So that's all monitored. There's escalation process that trigger, and we get involved if we need to make sure that receiver responds. And then, if there's something systematically wrong, we'll work with that receiver to improve their process. So that's one of the things we, really focused on TSANet Connect, is making sure that the members are getting response from other members. So as far as the engineer experience, and again, I'll give you a quick demo on this, but it's extremely straightforward. This kind of two-step process. You search for a company, and then you fill out the form. And you'll see, again, when I do the little little demo here. Most of the form is actually pre-filled out for you because we already know who you are, your contact details. So you're really providing problem information and common customer information, selecting the priority and submitting that request. And then the part that you really won't see in the demo, but want to provide you screenshots here is the email handshake, right? So as the engineer that's submitting the case, they get 2 emails. One, they get immediately, which provides the information that they filled out in the form. And the other piece of information it gives them, and you can see here, this escalation instruction section. And this is what they would do if, for example, they don't get a response, or they get a response, but the resolution problem is not proceeding as planned. So every member's got escalation instructions, and those are embedded then in the emails. And then you can see the initial response that comes back. It includes a case number, which is the engineer assigned, and then what the next steps are. And again, we embed the escalation instructions in there, so that engineer has that in case something goes wrong during the resolution process. So that's really kind of how the system works, and you can see here pretty simple and straightforward. So with that, I am going to go and give you a quick little demo, and then we'll have some time for some Q&A as well. So here's how the system looks. I'm actually logged as an administrator. So if you have access to the system and you're an admin, you'll see this extra menu here, right? That gives you access to be able to see, who your users are registered, what's your inbound process, all these other types of things. But your standard caller does not have that menu. They can see their history, right? So what cases they've submitted. And then of course they can see their user profile and update those types of things. But the real kind of, we'll call it core use case, is finding the partner and filling out their process form. So for example, if I want to collaborate with NetApp, I can do a search here. It's going to, sorry about that. It's going to show me their process form. You can see here it auto-populated my information. I would go in and enter the problem information. Some larger vendors, obviously you can see here NetApp's one, but you'll see quite a few others that might have a product area pulled down. And again, people can add custom fields. So for example, this allows them to route it to the correct team, either automatically within their CRM system or manually. And then you can see here the common customer information. And the piece that is consistent is really this top part. So you're always going to provide the company and then the contact that you're working with. But then based on the member's entitlement, you may see, for example, any hardware vendor probably is going to ask for the serial number. So if you're working with a NetApp or Cisco or someone where it's a definite piece of hardware, you'll see a serial number that they'll want to be able to do the collaboration there. So it's really as simple as that. I'll give you kind of maybe another example here. Let's just do VMware. And again, this will give you just kind of a sense that they're all very similar, right? So again, you can see here it's auto-populated my information. You can see the problem summary. Again, some categorization, but then you can see here VMware doesn't request a serial number because obviously it's software components, but very similar. The priority selection again is going to show you what the response time is. And this is the piece that then sets the SLA clock, and we trigger the escalations if they haven't responded within that time period. So the other 2 use cases that we tend to stress when we train the engineers is what to do if you cannot find a company. So for example, I'm searching for some strange company name. The system will ask you, right, if you can't find the company, give us some information here. And what happens then is we work with your business manager and we try to find out how can we bring this company on board. So that's one thing that could go wrong maybe during the search is you find a company you want to work with, not on the system. Definitely fill these things out so that we can work to find that. The other situation that may come up is you may look for a company and find out that it has this message, right? That they don't have a relationship with you, but you can send an invitation. And what these are limited members that are maybe part of a partner program. So for example, maybe they're just a Red Hat partner, or they're a VMware partner. So they're part of a partner program, or they're not part of the larger TSANet. So you can extend an invitation to them. And again, we'll work with your business manager on a best create a relationship with them, whether that's getting the member to upgrade or forming another limited relationship with you as well. So really the goal on this is to make sure that when your engineers go into the system, they can find the partner. So certainly if that doesn't work, we want to see that feedback in one of those two ways. So then the last thing that I'm going to show you here is the knowledge exchange. You can see here we highlight, hey, the knowledge exchange is new, and you click learn more. That will actually open it up another window and show you the sessions, right? So you can see here, here's the IBM one that I talked about. So you can go ahead and register for that session. Again, very straightforward. The user clicks on this, and they're going to go ahead and register for this event. So that is the registration piece. But then again, you can see all the previous sessions, right? So you can view any one of these, and it's going to bring you to the recording. And as I said, you kind of look at some of these topics. They tend to be highly technical. To kind of see the combination of the folks that are presenting these now. And again, this is fairly new. So these are, really from kind of middle of last year and through this year. So we're really trying to get at least one of these per quarter. IBM's doing it here next, but we are working with a couple other companies to get something after the IBM one. So definitely, I think this is an area that your engineers would benefit from, as far as maybe don't do a lot of collaborations, but training and information exchange between members is helpful as well. And you can see here we've announced that also in this news piece. So that's really it in a nutshell. Maybe we'll open it up, see if there's any questions. Or Dennis, I don't know if you want to.
Yeah, so if anybody's got anything, if you want to put it in chat there. A couple things. There were some people that came in late, so I want to make sure that they understand that they will get a copy of that recording, correct?
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So I'm gonna just do two things, right? One, we're gonna send the recording, but the other thing that I'm gonna do is you can kind of see I didn't want to kill everyone with the slides, right? So we just kind of went through the introduction piece, but the part that might be interesting, right, is we do have in the slide deck a list of all the different features, right? So this really kind of goes through what each feature is and what membership level gets it. So you can see here, TSANet Connect, obviously everybody gets it, right? Single sign-on, hey, that's for premium and elites. Critical escalation, same thing, right? So it kind of goes through what each of the features are, what do they entail, and kind of what membership level they're linked towards. So I think this is a good overview. So we'll give you the entire deck so that you've got it as well.
Okay, and I do have a question here in TSANet. Is there a way when creating a case to attach logs?
Good question. So in the original request, there is not. And part of that is due for the data privacy. So a lot of members are like, hey, we can't be passing that stuff through emails. They may have secure ways of exchanging that. So what tends to happen is you make the request, and the receiving side in their response may say, hey, click here to access our FTP site and put the log or the core files or whatever additional information is going to be there. Obviously, if it's a log snippet, you can paste in a description, right? The description field is quite capable of handling log snips. But if you've got, really big logs or core files or large files that you want to exchange, then that's usually point to point with the receiving member.
And then one other question, Paul, I just want to kind of touch on it. You talked about some integration into CRM systems, things like that. Could you just touch on maybe some of the simple integrations so that, because I think people have a tendency to, oh, well, I'm going to get into APIs and this is a year-long project, and I happen to know that's not the case. So could you maybe touch on that a little bit?
Good point. And I would say, today, really all but 2 members are really using email, right, as their inbound process. And it's an extremely structured email. So many CRM systems out there have a simple email to case or email to ticket or what have you, right? So that structured email allows for you to leverage that capability of your CRM system. And that tends to not even be an IT project, right? It's basically a configuration. You might even already have that in place. So that's what we find the majority of members doing. We do support JSON for your inbound process as well, but again, that's a little bit more complicated. And we're working on TSANet Connect 2.0 that will allow full integration, right? And that will be, kind of bi-directional and case updates and all of those types of things. But I would say that's kind of early days. We're kind of focusing on that with a few of the elite members that have enough volume, maybe kind of justify that level of integration. So the Red Hats, the VMwares, et cetera. But that will obviously progress as well. But the idea here is to make sure that this is not a complicated thing, right? It shouldn't be, something that makes your IT team come and push back, right? And in fact, even if you're not familiar with single sign-on, right, that used to be maybe 10 years ago, that was a big ask for your IT team, right, to go and enable single sign-on on an application. Today, that is super straightforward, right? What we tend to find with a company, if we say, oh, you're a premium member, want to turn on single sign-on, that tends to be about a half hour or between a half hour and an hour meeting with the IT team, and it's basically configured and tested and activated right then. So again, it's kind of standards and stuff have made that piece a lot easier as well. Any other questions?
Sorry, I was on mute. Could you just real quickly before we run out of time here, could you touch on, because I know a lot of companies are using this to manage their partner programs and onboard their partners and that kind of stuff. Could you talk a little bit about how they can get more information about that and what next steps might be?
Exactly. So in fact, I would say that is an area that, like I said, is really matured. We have 2 assets that I would say I would certainly point you to, right? The first is if you go to our website, right? So we go to the public website, you'll find under the Why TSANet. Again, it'll list all these features, right? So you can drill into any of these and find out more information, right? So if you're like, oh, what's this critical escalation? You drill on that and find out what's some of these other things. But you will see the partner support programs. And again, we kind of highlight a few of the key ones. And if you click learn more, you're going to get a link or ability to download a brochure. But then it shows you the various partner programs here. And in addition, we have and I would say this is a good resource for you as well. If you go under member resources, and if you're a manager, you can see this TSANet Connect administration. This has a lot of training, information that you might need about single sign-on, et cetera. But the big one that you're going to get here is the TSANet Partner Program Playbook. So this walks through probably a lot more detail on exactly how we do it, what are some of the best practices. So I would say those are kind of a couple of good resources, right? The Why TSANet is more of I'll call it the marketing level information. So if you want to just kind of get a high level, but if you want to really dig into details, go under member resources under this Connect administration piece and these are more kind of white papers or detailed documents that go over the specifics.
Okay, excellent. And Paul, I don't have, so it looks like the bottom of the hour. I don't have any more questions.
Okay, excellent. So look for the follow-up email, obviously before the end of this week, and it'll have the